Welcome to Sam Outside. I'm Sam and I'm outside. I'm taking a walk and I've added a little bit to it, and I'm encouraging you to do the same thing. Um, for those of you who've seen me before, you know that I'm out here in nature walking the dog. So we try and walk Mr. Indiana Bones about twice a day. Now, our morning walks are a little bit different, all right? So it's a shorter walk. It's hard to fit in the number of options I have out here in the trail system available to me. So it's our afternoon walks after work that we have a few more options and I've got a little more time. Not always, but there are more often opportunities to make more time. So for the longest time, I walked because he needed exercise. And yeah, I was getting some exercise too. But most of my walking experience, especially as a certified forest therapy guide, in that practice, it's not about the steps. It's not about the distance. It's not about the pace. In fact, we're encouraging people to slow down, to be more mindful of every step, engaging all the senses. But if that's not the intention, I have an opportunity to change my walk. So there are so many options for adding to your walk. And I'm doing one of them right now by adding a little weight. So what I'm wearing today is a weighted vest, all right? Might be different. So it's weighted walking. Might be different than rucking. Rucking, traditionally by definition, is the backpack, right? It's the pack weighted for what you intend on needing or bringing with you in that situation. So backpackers, right? You actually want to use your pack, and you might want to load up all the things of food, supplies, resources, bedding, all those things, your shelter, all that stuff that you intend on taking with you on that hiking trip. Or if you're going to be in the practice of canoe tripping, you're going to have to do some portages, load up your barrel, load up your Wanigan, and like just walk with it, all right? So it's not a complete shock to your system the first time you do it. But the challenge with rucking is the weight is back there, and you're like, oh my, so you're really, and there's a little bit of a risk of overcompensation, so people lean forward, just to balance that weight. And it targets different muscle groups. Yes, that weight, there are some advantages, right? So it's training. By wearing the weighted vest, participating in weighted walking, I can change out the weights. So these little packs, they come out and they're all about 4.5 pounds each, and or maybe more. Anyway, they're I can add more weight. I can change the weight, but it's evenly distributed, which allows my posture. In fact, it's actually forcing my posture to improve a little bit. But what the weighted walking does, it's actually helping develop a little bit more of my bone density, definitely engaging different muscle groups, targeting a little bit more. So simply walking my regular pace, my regular walk, same time, same steps, by adding the weight, I am engaging in a different form of exercise. And if you've ever trained with weights, you know that, if you want to see gains, you got to add weight, right? So it's one thing to add reps, but if you actually want to see muscle mass, you got to add the weight and then continue. So if you could do 12 with something, add some weight and then try and do 8. And eventually, as you gain more muscle, what used to be able to do 8, well, then someday you'll be able to do 12 and then add more weight, drop it down to 8. Anyway, so the weighted vest definitely targets. I can feel it in my knees. I can feel it in my lower back, definitely some posture. And when I'm doing those inclines, because getting out of my parking spot at the house, it is a straight, constant climb for quite a distance. So I'm covering about 400 feet and I'm gaining height of about 80 feet. So yeah, it's just a constant up. And then, once I'm up here in the forest, it's ups and downs, up and down. So I have to change the way I walk. And we're doing it with the weighted vest. You're definitely adding a little bit to your cardiovascular training as well. Now, that's just one form. Now, there are some very different benefits if you're targeting different muscle groups. If the space allows, if the terrain allows, walking backwards. All right, so yeah, walking backwards does amazing things. You're actually using different muscle groups, all right? And what you're actually doing, if you can do it safely, this back and forth that I'm doing just to make sure, I have to change the way I step, all right? I can't land heel to toe. It's actually toe to heel. So I'm using different muscle groups in my foot, in my ankles, also in my knees. So it's targeting very different muscle groups. So if you have the space, if you have the terrain, if you feel safe, and it takes practice, try 50 steps and then add a little more, right? Try doing it downhill, try doing it uphill, but walking backwards definitely trains different parts of your muscle groups, works on your balance, right? It works on all those things. But what it's also doing mentally, right? Our development as animals on this planet, our eyes are forward for a reason. So when that's not, you are naturally going to slow down so you can process your environment a little bit differently. So it does help with focus, right? Concentration. So the experience on a physiological level, it's very different. And that will add amazing gains. Now, once you can do 50 steps, again, just like with the weight, add 100 steps, 200 steps, add the time, add the distance, but only if the path you're walking on is safe, right? So in this forested environment, I think I missed an opportunity when I was up on the road. I'm not really going to continue to walk backwards while I'm navigating the terrain and the slope. These wet leaves and a lot of branches, debris, just not safe. Don't do it. But what I can do now is participate in what's known as interval walking. So interval walking is just that. I'm going to do one interval at my regular pace, right? I'm having a conversation. I'm in a different zone of cardiovascular fitness. So after I've done a specific moment, you can give it a minute if you need to, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But what I want to do now is mirror that same moment, but at an accelerated pace. So I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit and try and keep that at the same moment. So whether there's 2 minutes in your moment or 3 minutes in your moment, I'm just going to quicken the pace a little bit. Again, watch for terrain. Now I'm working on my cardiovascular, right? But I might be targeting different muscle groups as I change my stride, as I change my pace. Don't forget to engage the arms as you, right? Swinging them back and forth, right? So there are some beauties of walking in nature. Yeah, so sometimes I'm forced to slow my pace. It's going to be off trail. It just rained. We had a little bit of a storm. So I'm going to have to do some cleanup along these trails. Yeah, so maybe carrying that chainsaw and fuel and bar oil is the thing I'm training for, because I am nowhere near and I've got some work to do, just a number of things. This is why I can't walk backwards on this trail. So interval walking, walking backwards, weighted walking, all things you can do to your regular walking routine. But the idea is to keep it in that, call it the second zone. You want to be able to have a conversation. You want to be able to talk, breathe, not be labored. But if you get to the point where you're changing your pace and you're changing your speed so much that you can't have a conversation, you are finding yourself challenged by the breathing. I might be experiencing a little bit of that now. So maybe it's time to slow down. So go back. Now, you're training new runners, new joggers, new walkers to the activity, to the exercise, and you're not in a forest. So you're in a urban environment. Use the streetlights or the posts or the buildings if they're at regular intervals. Even if they're not, they're going to be that far apart, right? So walk from one light standard to the other, from one utility pole to the other, and then run the next one, or walk faster the next one, or jog the next one. And then once you get to that, go back to your walk, or slower your pace, right? So if you do that, you're really training your cardiovascular system, challenging your muscle groups. And then what you'll notice is, like anything else, those little moments, those intervals of effort will become easier. Then you start to push it. I'll walk for one, accelerate for two. And then it becomes, rather than 1 to 1, it's 1 to 2, 1 to 3. Then it's, you want to build some recovery in there, but that is the progression. That's the sequence. Start adding some weight. Start varying it up a little bit. So these are all things you can do to change your regular walking routine from doing this for the dog. He needs exercise too. Well, while I'm at it, a little bit more I can do. If you find the opportunity and you want to see gains, your physical, mental, and emotional well-being, and it will become easier because it's habit. And you're laying the foundation for longevity. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Oh, gonna need a bigger chainsaw to fix that one. So, Yeah, I've got a lot of videos about the benefits of spending time in nature. Just exercising in nature increases the gains by 20% because of the availability of oxygen and the different focus, different mindset. And people don't tire, or you can call it limit out, as easily relative to doing what I'm doing on a treadmill or doing what I'm doing on an indoor track. Doing it out in nature just naturally feels easier mentally, emotionally, so you can exert yourself more physically if you want to see the gains that way. So that's just the benefit of it. So the next time you're out on your regular walk, put a couple things in a backpack, do some rucking. Start with 5 pounds, 10 pounds. What I'm wearing right now, and I don't wear it as often as I did over the winter, I'll definitely wear it a lot more now that the season allows. I'm wearing 40 pounds. I'm wearing less than what I actually used to carry on my frame. I weighed a little bit more not so long ago, but I've made some changes, and walking has been a big part of the changes I've made to my physical, mental, and emotional well-being. So when I got my way up to 40 pounds, wow, okay. I didn't even notice it before, but man, when I pick up this vest, sling it on, yeah, 40 pounds it is some weight. And I used to just have it in my belly, in my thighs, in my neck, everywhere. So here I am putting it back on again, but I can loosen 2 Velcro straps and leave it on the porch. That's the difference. So use the terrain, challenge the uphill, careful on the downhill, walk backwards when you feel you can, try some interval walking, and throw a little weight on. And you'll see gains, you'll feel gains, and you will add to your walking routine, which will add years to your life and take off those things you might not need to carry anymore, like stress, unwanted weight. All right, so give it a try. Don't go out and buy one right away. Borrow one from a friend. So, really does help. Go outside, walk, breathe, smell, listen, feel. Find the best version of yourself. It takes work. You're worth it. Thanks for watching. Talk to you again soon.